Hello everyone, we ended part 2 at verse number 6 of chapter 42 in the book of Isaiah. So we're going to pick up right where we left. It says, I the Lord have called you, and by you it's talking about Yahweh's servant, the messenger of the covenant in righteousness. I will take hold of your hand, I will keep you, and will make you to be a covenant. The Hebrew word used for this covenant is brit. An Arabic word for it is misaq, for the people and a light for the Gentiles. So basically, Yahweh, our creator, is telling us that this messenger that he is talking about is the messenger of the covenant, and actually makes a very clear reference to that covenant, to that brit here in this verse for us, so we don't make any mistakes. And just very quickly, here is the book of Malachi chapter 3, and you can see here it talks about that the messenger of the covenant whom you desire will come. It says, O Malach ha berit. So basically, Malach ha berit, it means messenger of the covenant. And this verse actually is referencing to that covenant, the same covenant that this messenger, this chosen servant of Yahweh, will be a covenant, a misaq, a brit for the entire world, for all the people, and a light for Gentiles. I also mentioned that for the past several verses, at least 4 times, Yahweh, our creator, mentions the main mission of this messenger, which actually is a political mission, is to establish justice on earth for all mankind. So that's the main mission. And number 7 gives us actually some more. It says to open eyes that are blind. What does that mean? It means that he will reveal the truth. So a lot of people, a lot of mankind who did not know the truth about our creator, about what is going on, their eyes actually will open up and they will start to see. It's not talking about the physical eye. It's talking about this understanding, gaining understanding and being able to see the truth and the reality of this world and our creator. And then the second one is to free captives from prison and to release from the dungeon those who sit in darkness. What does that tell you? That tells you that at the end times, at the time when Allah's messenger of the covenant is appointed, there is going to be a great number of people who will be locked up behind prisons without access to proper processes and justice. And we know as of today that there's a lot of people locked up in prison in places like China, in Middle East, thousands of people. So it's going to get only worse. Things are not going to get better, especially after people start believing in the message that our creator will send to us through his messenger. So a lot more people will actually be locked up and put in prisons and dungeons in various parts of the world. So you really have to pay attention when you're reading these verses. These verses, every verse is telling you something about the end time events and the conditions during which Allah's messenger of the covenant will appear. So they're giving you hints and pointers to all those conditions. Then next verse says, I'm the Lord, that is my name. I will not give my glory to another or my praise to idols. See, the former things have taken place, and new things I declare. Before they spring into being, I announce them to you. So basically, this verse is telling you that this is all prophecy. None of this has happened, but I'm telling that to you before they happen so that you all know what I will be doing at the end times. The next 2 verses are really important. So it says, sing to the Lord a new song. This is a commandment issued by the Lord, by YHWH, by Allah, by our Creator. Sing to the Lord a new song, His praise from the ends of the earth. You who go down to the sea and all that is in it. You islands or you coastlands and all who live in them. So this is a commandment to these nations that at the end of the world, if it says you go down to the sea and all the coastlands. So let's orient ourselves. Prophet Isaiah, when making these prophecies, is here right at the center of the world, in here in the Holy Land, right? So that's where he is. So when you go down to the sea and all these coastlands, across the coasts, all of them, and these are the major population centers in the world, all of them here in Europe, all of them are, majority of them, I would say, are along the coast. That's why our Creator calls them coastlands. And if you look at this, they all look like islands and in the sea. So when you go down to the seas, to the end of the earth, that's what you are seeing. And he's issuing a commandment to them that sing to the Lord a new song. Why? Because they are going to learn a new religion that they have not known as of today. They're going to learn about the true religion of our Creator, the knowledge which is the religion of Abraham, Ishmael, Isaac, Jacob, the same religion, the religion that no longer exists in the world as of today. We don't have that. This is going to be a new religion that Allah has already revealed several times. But each time that Allah reveals this religion, people change it and cover it up with various traditions, with various hadiths and sayings and so on and so forth. So that's why Allah commands them, sing to the Lord a new song. But then verse number 11 gets even more interesting. It says, let the desert or wilderness and its towns raise their voices. Let the settlements where Kedar lives rejoice. Let the people of Selah sing for joy. Let them shout from the mountaintops. So which wilderness is this verse talking about? It's talking about the wilderness of Paran or wilderness of sin and its towns. So what are the towns in this? Well, a major town at the time of Prophet Isaiah in that wilderness and even today is actually the city of Petra that exists in there. So this is the map of the Holy Land. So this is Petra. Petra is the other name of Petra is actually Selah. Selah means rock. And Petra is the Greek word for rock. So they're the exact same thing. One is in Greek, one is in ancient Hebrew, it's Selah. So they're the exact same thing. It has had several names. The original name in the Bible, if you read it, it's Kadesh. That was the name at the time of Moses. They called Kadesh. Kadesh means holy or Quds. That's what it means. But it has had several names depending on who has been ruling the area. So this is Selah or Petra, as you can see, and that's where Ishmael was living. Kedar was one of the sons of Ishmael, so they were living in this area as well. So here in this map, he has put the Kedarites at this area. Nabateans, basically these are the ancient original Arabs. And who were these people? These were the sons of Ishmael, Esau, and other sons of Abraham who all gathered together and inhabited this area. So these were all sons of Abraham who were also called as Edomites. So keep that in mind. We're going to get to that. So the question is, why should the inhabitants of that area, why should the people of Jordan, this is the country of Jordan, why should the people of Jordan raise their voices? Why should they rejoice? Why should they be so happy, especially people of Selah, which is Petra, Jordan? Why should they be singing for joy? Our Creator says that let them shout from the mountaintops. What is happening that these peoples are going to be rejoicing? They're going to be so happy. It's as if our Creator is doing something for them, as if our Creator is going to save them. Because the next verse is addressing the coastlands or the lands in the seas. It doesn't command them to rejoice. It says, let them give glory to the Lord and proclaim his praise in the islands. But it doesn't talk about that rejoicing and raising their voice and just shouting and being happy. Verse number 13 clarifies that for us. This is why they will be happy. It says, the Lord will march out like a mighty man, like a warrior. He will stir up his zeal. With a shout, he will raise the battle cry and will triumph over his enemies. For you to understand this verse, you have to understand the book of Daniel. And I have a video about that. And the book of Daniel tells us that the armies of the nations, under the leadership of this charismatic world leader, they will occupy the entire area at the end time. And the only country, the only nation that will survive is going to be the country of Jordan. I have another video about it. I will put the link down in the description. So the only country that will survive that occupation at the end time, where the entire armies of the nations, United Nations, all the armies of the world will gather against the community of the believers. Like a flood, they will overflow the entire area, entire Holy Land area and the Middle East. And the only country that will survive that is the country of Jordan, which will be the last sanctuary, last safe area. It will be the Zion of its time. And when they want to destroy it once and for all and annihilate the community of the true believers who have gathered in the current country of Jordan, that's when the Lord will march out like a mighty man, like a warrior. Let me show you chapter 63 of the book of Isaiah. Now let's look at these verses together. They're telling us the exact same story from another angle. It says, who is this coming from Edom? I just showed you the Edom in the map. From Bozrah. Bozrah means sheepfold. It's another name for that general area around Petra, or perhaps it was another city very close to it. With his garments stained crimson. Who is this robed in splendor, striding forward in the greatness of his strength? It says, it is I, speaking in righteousness, mighty to save. This chapter is so poetic. It's amazing. It says, why are your garments red, like those of one treading the winepress? I have trodden the winepress alone. From the nations no one was with me. I trampled them who? The nations in my anger, and trod them down in my wrath. Their blood spattered my garments, and I stained all my clothing. Yahweh is portraying the picture for you that all the nations will gather together. That's why it says, from the nations no one was with me. There's no nation, not a single nation that will be helping Yahweh in this battle. So all the nations of the world will unite against the end time community of the true believers. All of them. And the community of the true believers will be squeezed into only one area, and that is the current country of Jordan. They will be squeezed in there. The book of Daniel tells us about it. And that would be the last resort, last sanctuary. That would be the Zion of the end time. All the true believers from across the world, it doesn't matter. They used to be Christians, they used to be Jews, they used to be Muslims, they used to be Buddhists, but all the true believers will gather together during those persecution times. They will be all gathered together in Jordan, and the nations gather together to destroy them once and for all. And that's when our Creator Yahweh will intervene. And that's what he says, I trampled them, who? The nations, in my anger, and trod them down in my wrath. Their blood spattered my garments, and I stained all my clothing. For the day of vengeance was in my heart, and the year of my redemption has come. I looked, but there was no one to help. I was appalled that no one gave support. So my own arm worked salvation for me, and my own wrath sustained me. So Yahweh is telling us that there was nobody else. I looked to see if maybe another nation, someone else, a group, someone comes to my help, but there was no one. That's how powerless the community of the true believers will be in end time during the onslaught that happens by the armies of the nations, when all the world will gather around them to destroy them. And Yahweh, our Creator, will come. And He says, I trampled the nations in my anger. In my wrath, I made them drunk and poured their blood on the ground. So I'm hoping now you can look at this map and you can realize how accurate, how detailed, how precise the Bible is. It's actually like a GPS. It's telling us everything we need to know. It's just a matter of connecting the dots together and getting a full picture. Book of Daniel tells us that the chief of Ammonites, Moabites, and Edomites are the only ones that are going to be saved from the charismatic world leader and his armies at the end time. And you can see that's why our Creator, Yahweh, in the verses saying that He's coming from Edom, from Bozrah, Selah. So He's giving us the address of what is going to happen. Petra is an extremely important place. It's the original Mecca. It's the original Masjid al-Haram, or holy sanctuary in the world. The last verse I want to share with you today before ending this part is verse number 14. This is a very important verse. It says, for a long time I have kept silent. I have been quiet and held myself back. That is telling you that these events will happen after a very long period of no divine intervention whatsoever. We have not had any sort of divine intervention in world affairs since about almost 1400 years ago. And this is why, if you understand this verse, you understand why that has happened. Because it says, I have kept silence. Our Creator has kept silence. He has been quiet. He's watching, but He has been quiet, and He has purposefully held Himself back. This is why, if you understand this verse, you're going to know that we are going to be in a long pause period where Yahweh, Allah, our Creator, is not going to intervene. It's as if He's not there. It's as if He's not part of any equation. This is going to happen. This is His plan. He has kept silent. He has been keeping quiet. He has held Himself back because He will suddenly come back. And that's what He says. But now, like a woman in childbirth, I cry out, I gasp and pant. Peace and blessings to all of you.